A landing page can oftentimes be what makes or breaks a successful marketing campaign. And while it may seem sometimes like it's just a 50-50 shot in the dark if it's going to be successful or not, there is actually a science to doing it. And I'm here to teach you the 6 steps to creating a successful, high-converting landing page. But before we get into that, I just want to point out that a landing page obviously has a lot of nuance to it, and depending on your specific business, it needs to look a certain way as well, because a service-based business like myself providing web design services is not going to have the same content as a lawn mowing business operating in its local little area. That's just facts, and I'm sure you understand that as well. But despite that, there are still a lot of common principles and common sections on a landing page. So starting off with number 1, a short and descriptive title. And I've actually recently published my completely new, rebranded and remade from scratch studio website for my own business. So I'm gonna use that as an example throughout this video to make it very concrete and visual for you. So starting off, looking at the title right here, and I'm having the screen right here, so if you see me looking away, that's why. It says more than just a Webflow developer. What this does is that 1, it's very short, which means that it's easy to consume and quick to read. Because viewers don't have, or visitors rather, don't have a lot of time and probably a very short attention span before they decide to close the website. So quickly we need to give them context of, hey, why am I on this website? So what they can gather from this title is that 1, I'm a Webflow developer, so it's something related to Webflow and development right off the bat. That's also why I've highlighted that text in a different color than the rest of the sentence. But then it also says more than just a Webflow developer. And what that does is that, okay, we have Webflow and development, so it's related to that, but there's also something else. What could this be? So the title gives enough context to understand why am I on this site, but then it also asks a question. Not explicitly, but it makes you ask a question rather. And what that does is that it leads us to point number 2, which is call to action. A call to action is pretty self-explanatory. It is a call to action. You want the visitor to take a specific action based on your business and your business goals. In this case, I want people to book a meeting with me so I can sell my services and hopefully work with them. And having the title first, having them ask that question of, hey, okay, there's something more than Webflow development, means that they want to take some kind of action to discover what else is this. They're curious now. And so right off the bat, you can see that we have 2 buttons, one saying talk with me and the other saying view pricing. Talk with me immediately leads to a form where they can book a live video call with me directly. And then view pricing button leads to, well, a pricing page where they can see details about my pricing. So we have these 2 call to actions without the user even having to scroll down the page at all. So right off the bat, they have context and they can take action directly. Because one thing I see that is often missed in a lot of other people's marketing material is that we're leaving the visitor hanging, meaning that they can't always take the action that they want to. And so I have as a principle that whenever I develop or design a landing page, that I always give the possibility to the visitor to take action. And this can be done by 2 primary ways, really. You either sprinkle call to action buttons throughout the page, so maybe having that button every single section, or we can do, as I have on my website, a little widget in the corner, for example. And in my case, it says message me, which then opens a contact form. And again, the reason I have that is that if I would remove that little widget, a lot of the time the user wouldn't be able to take the action that they might want to take. And that's never a good idea because that's a lost conversion. And as a result, being a business, as we are, is a lost revenue opportunity. Now, point number 3, social proof. If you just continue looking at this first section of the website, you can see that there's a bunch of logos. Now, these logos aren't just there for random purposes because it looks pretty. It's only there to serve a very specific purpose, and that is to let the visitor know that, hey, okay, this business, JF Studio, has worked with other companies, which means that other companies trust this company's services. And so, it should mean that I can trust it as well. That's the only purpose, because we as human beings typically just trust other people. So if I say I have good services, no one really cares about that. But if someone else says, hey, Jonathan has really good quality web design services, then a third party is way more likely to trust that person recommending me than just me saying it myself. Because at the end of the day, anyone can claim anything, but it's the backup that makes the difference. Now, the first 3 points are more or less like the necessities, I would say, of any type of conversion-focused page, meaning that without it, you basically don't have a landing page. People can't take the action that they want. But there are some more aspects that you also should include that are less necessities, but still you should. And that brings me to point number 4, which is pricing. And regardless of if you're a service-based or product-based business, pricing will always be an important factor in any type of business. Whether you're a product-based or service-based business like myself, you always have to keep price in account. Because even if a wealthy, super rich kind of Elon Musk visitor visits your website, pricing says something about you and your services compared to other businesses. You can either say, hey, okay, I'm super cheap, you can work with me for basically nothing. That sets a specific kind of mindset around you and your services. Whereas if you go and have very high prices, then that also sets a different kind of mindset about you and your services. So by showing a price, you're actually communicating a lot more information subconsciously. And so that's exactly why I include my prices directly on my website, proudly displaying everything and exactly what you get for it. And apart from what I just said, a second reason why I typically like including prices even in service-based businesses is simply because it's not that common. And so it sets you apart by showing a certain kind of confidence, I would like to say. Confidence in your services are worth this price and you should pay for it. But then if we look at more of an e-commerce website, e-commerce business, then of course if you as a user are shopping around for a specific kind of product, you obviously want to know the price of it. That's just, it's part of how we shop. There's nothing weird about it. So pricing, very important for any type of landing page. Then point number 5, if we go back up to the top of my website, we have a product/service description. And what I'm talking about is the little paragraph beneath the title. The only purpose of this paragraph is that it serves as additional context to the title. So like we said in the very beginning, you understand that, hey, this is a Webflow developer, so it's Webflow and something development, but then there's also something else. And as I said, the user is probably a little bit curious about, hey, okay, what else is this? So they immediately, subconsciously start looking for more clues and more information about what am I looking at. That's why I always include a paragraph providing that exact more context. So if we read that paragraph right now, it says Jonathan Force is the brains behind the one-man powerhouse Webflow studio, JF Studio. Combining experience from a career in startup marketing, technical knowledge, and business growth, I provide a full circle, big picture approach to my clients. So already now we have so much context. Okay, he's a Webflow developer, he has experience in marketing, technical knowledge, and have worked with startups. So this gives a lot of information about if this company, JF Studio, is suitable to work with based on the client's or potential client's specific needs in that situation. And finally, point number 6, availability. Now, this is a bit of a bonus, I would say. It's not necessarily a necessity, but having availability, whether you're service-based or product-based, is, I would say, important. Because one, it lets the user know that, okay, this product or offering is available. So I can buy it today if I would want to. There's no reason to wait. But then 2 can also serve as a way to push the user to take action. Because if you're a traditional e-commerce website with like high stocks, then if you display on a certain product that, hey, we only have 3 or 4 items left in stock, that will rush the user to, oh shit, okay, I need to take action now because otherwise the product's gonna run out of stock. So it's not gonna be available anymore. And then I will have to wait for such a long time. And oh my God. And then all of a sudden they're more likely to take action. It's just how our psychology as a human works. Like it or not, it's, yeah. Like it or not. And so if we take a look at my website here, since I'm not an e-commerce website, I have at the very, very top a little text saying available for March bookings, because as of recording this video, it is currently March and I am available. Now, this banner, I will update each month saying available for blank month. And in my specific case, what it does is that 1, it says this website is kept up to date at least on a monthly basis, meaning that this website is active and this business is actually operating right now. So that's 1, that's a way of social proof. And then 2, it also serves as a sort of secondary call to action. function. Because if you go ahead and click that little text snippet, it will open up a booking form where you can schedule a call with me. Overall, landing pages can be a very tricky subject, and oftentimes the tiniest change can have massive impacts. It can be as tiny as just highlighting one word, or changing out one paragraph, or updating the title. It can be very small changes that drive massive change. And so while these are very good tips, and I would suggest you to implement all of these in your landing pages, it's still always super important and honestly required to do a lot of testing and A/B testing with your campaigns and with your landing pages, swapping out titles, swapping out buttons, rearranging layouts, and so on and so forth. Because at the end of the day, my audience is not the same as your audience, and the next person's audience is not the same as the third person's audience. So there's always going to be a lot of small little nuances. But with that said, let me know if you think I missed something or if you completely disagree with any of these, and I'll see you next week. Bye.